Hello everybody, my name is Last Night I Dreamt, and welcome to a review video. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're not doing Legos, surprisingly enough. Now I probably have ADHD or ADD or some sort of something where I struggle with my attention. I get easily distracted, right? And I have the need to fidget with my hands. I am a fidgeter. So, I went on Amazon and I got myself some fidget toys. Alright, so first off, we got whatever this is. A little weird. It's like a gyroscope, but then there's like a ball on the inside. Very spinny. It's loud. You can probably hear that. It's not great. Because, preferably, I am able to use this at work, you know, where I'm doing my job and I want something to do with my left hand while this one's just moving the mouse around. This one's just not doing it for me. At all, really. 2 out of 10. Second up, in our fidget toy, I thought these were Chinese finger traps. It's a similar thing, but it has a marble in it. Again, it's not that great. It's quieter. And I guess you can kind of do it one-handedly, but it's just not comfortable. And it doesn't have a good texture. It's a bad texture. 4 out of 10. Now, next up, I got the... Ooh. It's kind of like a keychain. Ooh, it's like spinny. Oh, this... See, I thought this was stupid. This is what it looks like, but then you can, like, twist it around itself. It's not a very good one-handed thing. I literally can't do it with one hand. You kind of have to have both hands, but then it just kind of like... It spins pretty well. It's kind of hard to show exactly, but it's kind of decent, you know, for something to do if you are not using both of your hands, but that doesn't really fit my purposes. But I get the appeal. It is kind of satisfying to see the rings. It's kind of like they're going through each other. They're not going through each other. They're just kind of going around each other. Cool idea. Not my favorite thing, though. I'm kind of looking for a one-handed thing, and this is not it. You kind of... Wait, hold on. Maybe if I practiced with it a little more, it might become a one-handed thing. Kind of. A little bit. It's not comfortable, though. So, 4 out of 10. Alright, now I have seen these before. They are magnetic rings. These actually... I was about to say that these are actually kind of strong, but then the second I tried to flip it, it fell apart. But yeah, you can basically like put it on your fingers and just kind of like move them around and like, you know, whatever. Great on the one-handed ability of this because it's really not a two-handed thing in the slightest. It's very one-handed, which I appreciate, but I don't feel like I'm doing anything. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like wearing them. And like, that's cool and all, and you can kind of get the feeling of magnets around your fingers, but like, I don't feel like I'm doing anything. I'm being very critical of these because I want something that's actually going to help me focus, relieve stress, which all of these said they did, right? That's the thing, is they are making these claims and none of them so far have really been great, but I've been saving the best for last, so 6 out of 10. Also, bad color choice. I typed in fidget toy adult. These do not look adult to me. Just do like black or like gray. Alright, next up we have this. It's kind of like a... Ooh! That's really loud and obnoxious, but I do like it. This one has like, I think 8 different functions. So then here we basically just have like a joystick. Not bad, not bad. It doesn't click, which I kind of wished it did, but you know, whatever. And then, ooh, this thing right here like spins, so you can like rub that, I guess. It's mediocre. On the back, we have a spinny thing. That I don't actually mind. I kind of like that. It's quiet. you don't really hear anything. And then on the other side, we have a switch, which is not bad. And then I think the last one is these very brightly colored buttons here. Oh, these are like, oh, bad. Terrible, really, actually. Everything else was decent. You lost me on the buttons. The buttons were bad. This is great. Loud, but great. This spinny thing I think is probably my favorite, as well as the joystick. The joystick's not terrible, but it's a little loud. Like, you know, I'm gonna give this one like a 7 out of 10, actually. Not bad. All right, I may have seen this before. This is called a fidget cube, and I remember seeing these like way back in the day when I was a kid, and I thought I wanted one so badly because I was like, oh, a fidget cube, that's so cool. It's like a controller, but well, now I have one. Buttons are quiet, except for that one for some reason. All the other buttons are like quiet except for the one. Next up, we have this little metal thing that we can roll around and it clicks, as well as these like gears that just kind of spin. Don't really like those. Again, switch, very similar to the other one, but this one has more of a, you can do it a little easier. So I actually kind of like that a little better. And another spinny thing, just kind of goes, just spins. All right, so this right here is called an infinity cube. And I have actually played with one of these before. It basically just folds into like 8 little sectioned off cubes, and you can just like keep folding it over and over and over again. Not very one-handed, to be honest, unless you're like really good at this, which, you know, it's kind of hard. But it definitely is a good two-handed one, because it's just like, it's very repetitive, and you can just do this, which, you know, is not terrible. Kind of loud and clackety. I wish it wasn't so like just listen. It's just kind of clackety. Another problem that I'm having is it gets kind of stuck right here. Like, it's just a little knot. It doesn't bend super well at that one spot. It seems like all the other spots are okay. It's just that one that just needed like oil or something like that. I spent like 10 bucks on all of this, which is a pretty good price, to be honest. And I was expecting this to be much, well, I was expecting really crap quality, if I'm honest. It's cheap. It's very cheap. But I mean, it didn't fall apart right away. I'm sure it will fall apart eventually, because like it was under $1 or $2. So like, I'm sure this is gonna fall apart. I'm also sure this was probably made in China by a sweatshop factory. So that's good to know. But, you know, it kind of gets the job done a little bit, except for whenever it like stalls, and then it just ruins it. I give the idea of this one a 7, but the execution on this one particular, like a 4. Now we're moving on a little bit, because from now on, these aren't technically fidget toys for adults. These are technically forearm exercisers. So this one right here is just a ring, and you just squeeze it. And like already off the bat, I can tell that this is definitely working out my forearm, which is the point. This is decent, and I don't feel like it's gonna break. That's the other thing, is buying things on Amazon, immediately don't trust it, because I feel like it's gonna break immediately, because it's Amazon. I don't know what you expect, really. But this is decent. And it doesn't take a whole lot of mental focus. You basically just sit there and squeeze it. It's basically just a stress ball. It's good one-handed, so like I give this a pretty high rating, probably like an 8, maybe even a 9. It's better than I thought. I definitely was not going into this with high hopes for this one in particular. But next up, we have this black egg. Immediately hate the texture. I hate it so much. It feels like a hard-boiled egg, and it has the shape of a hard-boiled egg, but the color is not hard-boiled eggish at all. It's black, but the texture is bad. The texture is just bad. It feels like hard Jello that's gone bad. It's weird. Don't like it. Hate it. -2. Anyway, this one, it's like a finger workout thing. I mean, it's still forearm. You can see me flexing that. It's very, I actually kind of like the sound. It's not bad. It kind of reminds me of a trumpet. Like, I used to play the trumpet, and this very much reminds me of playing the trumpet. I give this one a 6 out of 10. Moving on. Now this one I've seen before on other places and whatnot. And I've always kind of wanted to try it. So like basically you put your fingers, you put like the tips of your fingers in these little holes, and then you spread out your fingers. So this one's different than like the squeezing mechanism. It's more of a spready outy mechanism, which I appreciate. And it definitely does feel like more of a workout. The only problem is like, what if I need to go answer the phone, right? And I'm like, oh, and then I have to like take this off, and it's just kind of like a hassle. So like ease of deployment, not great, but workout, like it's a good workout. Like I can already kind of feel like my arm getting sore, but maybe that's just because I was doing other ones as well. But I don't think so. This one's actually decent. It's a decent workout. And I thought this was going to snap immediately. I'm sure it's going to snap after like a week. That's kind of the whole thing of Amazon is it works all right for a week and then it breaks and then it stops working, or just works but like only badly. It works to the point that it's like, oh, I should probably get a new one of these, and then you go back to Amazon, you're like, oh, that's a good deal, and then you buy the thing that's a good deal, but in reality you're getting scammed because it's going to stop working after a week or a month, and then you're inevitably going to start buying them over and over and over again, and then it sticks you into this cycle of, oh, but I spent so much money on them already. So you don't want to like spend a whole bunch of money on a good brand because it's like, oh, I already spent like $30 on chargers. I want a cheap charger because I already spent so much money because I bought like 7 cheap chargers. But if I just bought one expensive charger and it worked for 2 years, I'd spend less money overall on one expensive one than 8 cheap ones. And if you're poor, you can't get out of that rut because you can't afford the really nice one, but then you have to buy a bunch of really cheap ones, and overall you're spending more money, and it's taking the money out of the poor people's pockets and putting it into the rich people's pockets. Anyway, not bad. 3 out of 10. Now this right here, I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's a squeezer. That's it. I have high hopes for this one. Okay? It's a squeezer, right? But in addition to that, it also has a counter. Every time you press it, and then you look at this little screen here, and it's like, you did 4 reps. But in addition to the counter, which works, surprisingly, I thought it wasn't going to work right off the bat. It's going to fall apart, but it works for now. The other thing that I was interested in is this right here. You can twist this, and apparently, and it gives it more resistance. So that should be more resistance. Oh yeah, definitely more resistance. Okay. I changed it from 5 kilograms to 60 kilograms, so can definitely tell a difference. Yeah, that's definitely going to work out your forearms. So not bad. I'm just worried that it's going to fall apart and stop working after 2 weeks. Now, which one of these would I actually bring to work with me, right? Because the whole purpose of this whole video was me trying out different fidget toys to see what works for me to bring with me to work so that I can focus on my job and stop dilly-dallying or schoolwork or whatever, you know. So I think we can definitely eliminate the weird egg thing. I despise this. I hate the texture so much. Get out of here. Next up, I think we can probably eliminate this. It's too loud. It's fairly quiet, but like just listen. That would get really repetitive and annoying, and I'm not about annoying people. I don't like it. It would annoy me as well, so I gotta get something quieter. Similar story with this one. Very quiet, would drive me insane. Now this one, it's not too loud. Like it's basically just a spinner kind of thing. And it's not too bad, you know, in terms of noise. And it's not too like out there in terms of color or anything like that. It just doesn't really do anything for me. I don't like it. That's the thing, is it's just kind of there. And I mean, even if I was going to get anything out of it, I'd have to like really flick this, and it's going to be loud. Like you can... No, it's too loud. Don't like it. It's not worth the noise pollution because it doesn't do anything for me. Now I can immediately get rid of the blue one because I like the red one more. But people would make fun of me for having this. They'd be like, what is that? Why do you have that? Why is it a primary color? You know what I mean? I feel like people would make fun of me, but it's not terrible. As a little bit of a fidget toy, you just kind of like pick it up, put it down, pick it up, put it down. It's not terrible. Not bringing it with me to work though. Similar story with these. Too loud and also way too colorful. I would not be seen dead with these. Immediately, I can already tell you I prefer this over this, surprisingly. I thought this was going to be garbage and this was going to be the holy grail, but I actually don't like this one. It's much more ergonomical than this. It's a cube. Is your hand cube shaped? No. Duh. So this one's not bad. It's in the running. It's fairly quiet and also ergonomical. I don't like these colors, but I mean, I'm not even really going to be pressing these buttons anyway. The buttons don't really do it for me, and also just they're not it. I much prefer like the joystick and like the spinny thing in the back. So that's a maybe. This right here, colorful, way too colorful, not one-handed, and also kind of sticks. So that's a definite no. Now this right here, not a very good two-handed thing. It's cool. I do kind of like it. It definitely keeps my hands busy. Like if I was trying to stay off my phone and just like have a conversation with somebody, this would not be bad. And I might just keep this on my keychain or something like that because it's not terrible. Now this right here, I think this one is actually going to be one that I'm going to bring to work with me because it's not super obvious. It's kind of unassuming. It's just kind of like a little round thing. You can just squeeze it, you set it on your desk, and they're like, oh, it's a desk decoration. It's really not that assuming. So like that's a definite maybe for me. I do kind of like this one, and I definitely also feel a little bit of a burn in my forearm, which was an added benefit. Now this one right here, I think it's gonna be a no for me. Not because it's bad, and not because it's loud, not because it's colorful, but just because of the ease of deployment and undeployment. Like to put it on and take it off, it takes too long, and if I need to answer the phone quickly or something like that, or I need to like use my other hand, it's just awkward. It's just awkward. I'm also afraid it's gonna snap and hurt me. So I picked out my top 3. This one coming in at number 3. It's not bad. I do kind of like it. It's a very two-handed thing, but if you really, you know, I feel like if I focus on it, I could do it one-handedly, but that's not the point of it. I want to not focus on my left hand. So this is 3rd place. 2nd place, we have this one. We have the little controller thing. It definitely does kind of feel like a controller, to be honest. But I like just the ergonomics of it. It fits in your hand pretty well. So that's a big part of it for me. So yeah, this is 2nd place, which means that the black donut is our number 1 winner. I like it because A, it works in either hand. B, it's a nice muted color. C, it doesn't look weird, and it's just kind of like a stress ball sort of scenario. And added bonus, forearm workout. Okay. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.